Josh?
Yes.
Hi, Johannes.
Hey,
I'm really sorry. My misfit kids made my the previous interview a bit late because they were yelling at me. But now I've pacified them in front of Dora the Explorer. So I'm good to go.
Oh, absolutely no problem. I've had all day today, so not a problem at all. Cool. Yeah, so thank you for taking the time to do this interview. I am a gigantic fan of Cult of Luna, and I absolutely love what you guys are doing with Mariner. How did this whole thing come about with doing an album with Julie Christmas?
It was actually we had pretty much exactly to the day 2 years ago. As far as it could be in the 5th or the 15th of May. Anyhow, we arranged this festival in London called Beyond the Redshift, and which we curated, or to be more fair, I curated. So I got to choose pretty much all the bands that were playing, and I've been a huge fan of Julie since her days in Battle of Mice and Made Out of Babies, and I most of all, I love their solo album, so I wanted her to play, but she couldn't. My agent told me that it wasn't possible for her to do it, so I asked for her email, and then we started talking, and I don't know, I knew that we were not going to tour much in the future, but I want to keep on writing, and I don't know why I asked, or how I asked, but I did, and she got into the idea. After a while, the whole process of talking about it and doing it took maybe like 4 months or so.
Oh, that is really cool to be able to take something that, like the festival not working out as planned, to making a whole collaborative album based off of just that idea. That's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I got in contact with her was that I tried to convince her to do it, but it was like practically impossible to do it. So, we talked about it, but we also said, like, okay, let's try out 1 or 2 songs and just see what comes out of it. And so we sent her a few drafts, just written on the computer, and I think it was like at the end of the summer of 2014 we got the first the first draft of what she was doing, and we thought that, okay, fair enough, let's go all the way and do something together. But it's as much as it was a chance, we took a chance. We didn't, because at least I wrote totally without any pressure. I was probably more. I probably let things through that I wouldn't normally do, because I knew that, okay, we have nothing to live up to. This is going to be so much different than anything we ever done. So I mean, we can do pretty much whatever we want. Well, in terms of the writing, and then we of course had the theme to talk about, which kind of limits your creative output, but that's just good. I like being limited in that way.
Yeah, it forces you to become creative with a singular idea, and I definitely think that comes through very well on the album.
I hope so. I think it helped us quite a lot for the last 3 albums when it comes. Well, if you count Mariner, like Eternal Kingdom and Vertical and Mariner, those were all written with a very, very strict theme that was not open to or open to interpretations. Yes, but it was not an abstract thing. It was very, very well defined from the start, from everybody involved in the band. Which limits yourself, and I can tell you, having this kind of well-defined thematical, creative limitation that we have talked about way before we ever wrote the note. Actually, it minimizes fights within the band. I can't remember when we had a proper fight in the band the last time. I mean, it could have something to do with us getting older, but but I think also, if you have a well-defined idea when you start, you always have that as a backbone. You always you know where you're heading when you write. So like all the decisions needs to be taken with the theme in mind.
Yeah, that's definitely a great way to look at it. When you set out to write a theme and everyone that is recording on the album has the same goals as you to create that theme, it definitely does. It can help create the strongest possible theme.
Yeah, and it's also, it makes it so much simpler because if somebody comes up with an idea, okay, but also the problem with talking about themes and music and art in general is that the discussion tends to be very abstract. That's why you have to talk in concrete terms. We have this joke for years now in the band that that you end up with if you argue for something, you end up with the argument that you just want to become good. Well, who doesn't? I mean, it's a nonsensical argument. Everybody wants it to become good, but you have to speak in concrete terms how and why you want a song to take the turn it does, or else it's just gibberish, it's just babble. So but that's the biggest challenge, to be able to translate your ideas into concrete, ground rules, so to speak.
Oh, that definitely makes sense, and I can imagine it does make it a bit harder with that. And with the theme in mind, did you have this theme in mind before Julie came into the picture, or was it talking to her that helped you create the idea for what came of the album?
Yeah, we had this idea for years. We knew that we were going to do this kind of a space-themed album way before we even started writing Vertical. I mean, you can actually, if you listen to one of the last songs on Vertical, Oneoff is basically a pretty good hint of where we were heading afterwards. It's about looking up into the space above and just feeling awe and admiration to that kind of a longing to the big universe, and then we actually we did this short EP also, Vertical 2, and the artwork for that was inspired by if you're in the middle of a city during the night and you look up into the cloud, you see all the spotlights lighting up from below, and so that was the inspiration to that artwork. So we knew that we were going upward, and actually, like the song Light Chaser on Vertical 2 is pretty much it's a pretty obvious giveaway where we were going.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I've been following the band since the first Vertical, and I've been going backwards and listening to everything and enjoying what I've heard. And then when Vertical 2 came out, I kind of got the impression with Light Chasers that you might be heading in that direction. Like, I could hear it thematically and lyrically, and especially musically. I could hear like this idea that it could go into such a intense and space-related territory, and it's really cool to see that it came to fruition on Mariner.
Yeah. I mean, you see, it was quite. I mean, it wasn't a secret or anything like that. We just we knew where we were going, and we always look for new ways of doing the same thing. It's still going to be us doing what we're doing. So to keep us from to keep us from stagnating and to keep a constant momentum, we need to have have some kind of limitations and push us to do things that we haven't done before. I mean, whether or not we succeed, that's not important. I mean, I would not want to do 2 albums that sounded exactly the same, and I don't care if somebody's gonna make a point that Mariner and Vertigo sound exactly the same, blah blah blah. Maybe they do. I don't care. The most important thing is that it doesn't feel like it for me or feel like it for us. That's the only thing that matters. How people perceive the albums, well, that's another thing. But it's more of having fun while writing and feeling like we are doing new stuff together. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, I've always found that to be as well. Being in bands myself and being able to talk to bands for my radio show, I've always thought that the most important thing when it comes to an album is that making sure that the people making the music are happy with the music that they're making. Because if they're not happy during that time, it's going to come through some way or another in the future where the band admits that they don't enjoy an album, or the fans just know that it feels like that they're just hashing something that they don't want to do. I've always wanted bands to be able to make the music they want to make.
Yeah, but I mean, what you mean? I'm not criticizing. I want to make sure that feeling good about what you're doing. It's not really the same thing as. I mean, the music needs to feel genuine. Like both Salvation and some way, I was not happy with what we were doing at the time because I was not happy at the time as a person. But I felt like the songs we did came from the essence of who we were at that time, which kind of, for me, kind of makes those albums the kind of the 2 most important albums for us. I think just out of a musical perspective, but I didn't feel good about them at that point, but or I wasn't happy while writing them. But I think that was probably, in one sense, that was one good aspect of why things became so genuine and still means so much to me and to us.
So, are you still able to go back to those albums and listen to them and enjoy them and play those tracks?
I haven't listened to them for a while now, but we have done this. We did a tour. We just came back a couple of weeks ago. Did this 10 years anniversary tour of Somewhere Along the Highway, and we also went back to our back catalog and played some songs that we haven't played for years. Off of Salvation, and one thing that's interesting is that those songs they feel like they're written by somebody else, and in a sense they are, because like we were different people at that point. We were like 10, 12, 13 years younger than we are today, but we kind of, it's like you're taking credit for songs that you haven't written, but we have. But also, like, it kind of, one thing that about the Somewhere Along the Highway songs is that I was impressed by myself. Like, how was I able to write these lyrics? I was way better at that than writing lyrics, and also like doing more technical stuff on the guitar than I am today. I don't know. Maybe I was just surprised by myself. But I was. I'm looking forward. Like next week, we're doing 4 shows in Scandinavia. We're going to do the same set again, like a 2-hour set with older songs. And I'm really excited of doing this again. It's going to be exciting and interesting, to say the least.
Oh, very much so. I mean, I wish I could make it out there to be able to see that, because it'd be very interesting to see you guys going back to the older material like that, and with the new perspective of what you guys are doing now.
Where do you live?
I live in Minnesota in the United States.
Okay. Nice. I haven't been to that state yet, but I was a fan of the Minnesota Vikings when I was a kid.
Oh yes.
Yeah. But that was a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
I didn't play American football, but I used to play baseball though.
Oh really?
But that's yeah, I did. until music saved me.
Yeah, I was kind of the same way. I was very embraced by sports of American football and baseball and wrestling until I discovered music when I was about 9-10 years old, and then I just kept going from there.
Yeah. I was a bit older, but right, like when I'm not. I've always been this kind of But Annabella, sorry.
Oh, not a problem.
Annabella. Oh yeah, the Care Bears. No, I'm still kind of a sports geek when it comes to the local hockey team in my hometown, but that's pretty much it.
Well, I can imagine, with family life and keeping Cult of Luna going and everything, there's not always too much time to be able to keep up with all different sports and everything. So at least hockey is there.
It's no time to keep up with anything.
Yeah.
And having a job and I mean honestly though, Cult of Luna takes hours every day. To do. This is very concrete when it comes to interview, but there's always something. Even though we have a manager now that we. Nej, Louis, du kan vilja med banan. Yeah, no. It's much better now that we have. Like we didn't have a manager for 15 years. I don't know why we didn't. We just said no. Like we are control freaks. We have always done everything ourselves. We've done our own videos as much as we could. We've always recorded ourselves. We've pretty much done all the artwork. Everything has been in-house. It's always Magnus recording. It's always Magnus mixing. And so we never wanted a manager, but now we have a friend that's managing us that we have known for 10 years. So yeah, it kind of relieves a lot of the day-to-day work for the band. He's doing a really good job, but it also, it forces us to take a lot of decisions too. So, yeah.
Oh yeah,
it is what it is. I'm not gonna complain. I'm really happy of where we are.
Oh yeah, I mean, being able to start the band as long ago as it's been, and being able to just release a brand new release in 2016, just a month ago. I mean, just being able to say that you've lasted that long, I mean, that's something to be really happy about.
Yeah, I don't even know how long we're going to last. I remember starting this band. I had the idea of doing something that would become bigger than its members. That the band would have such a strong identity that it would survive the departure of any member. And I kind of, in one sense, we have. It's just me and Magnus from the first. That's still in the band from the first demo, from the first kind of the first recording of the band. And I took over after Klaus left the band, and it's not many bands that survive change of a vocalist, but some of them, I don't know, but somehow we do, and I think maybe it has something to do with the kind of artistic freedom that we take in other aspects of the band. We always try to do something new. We are a heavy band, of course. There's no that, but also we've written some pretty softer, stranger songs. Mr. Melloy, yeah. So I don't know. I think in that sense we succeeded. I can remember. Some of my memories are so specific. I know exactly. Magnus asked me when we were playing in Switzerland. Like, he asked me, "Do you think we're ever gonna, make it, break the 10-year barrier?" And then all of a sudden we're closing in on 20. It's really weird.
It's really cool to be able to see, though, because, just like looking from the very first release all the way up to Mariner, and just seeing that progression of the band, and you really have, made it to that point where the band is strong enough to be able to survive, and especially after 2 decades, just hitting that mark of where, like you said, it has become bigger than just the members itself.
Yeah.
What do you feel was the moment where you realized that the band really did hit that mark?
Hit what mark? When we...
Or where you felt that the band really did become bigger than the members?
I don't think that I don't think that's kind of a flash of insight. That's just I think that's something that you learn by the basic fact of being in the band. I mean, and I never had when Klaus gave me the call and said that he was quitting, that didn't come as a surprise. I knew that from ever since 2005 that he would quit. So that's why I kind of gradually took over the role as a vocalist from on Somewhere Along the Highway and Eternal Kingdom. And to be honest though, it wasn't until the last tour that we did, I mean this tour 2 weeks ago, where I actually kind of emotionally realized that we are a pretty big band. It took us like 16, 17 years. All right, well, actually, we haven't been big for that long, but like we are. I kind of realized that. Do you see what I mean? Like it's just hard to emotionally grasp that what you do means stuff to other people than ourselves. I still don't think I have, but I don't know. It's just like it felt like we are drawing quite a crowd. I mean, that's just a weird thing, and that people actually come and see us play. Like it's always felt strange that people come and pay to see us play in countries that isn't our own or cities that isn't our own. And it still is weird, but this spring it kind of hit us that it's a reality that people actually care what we do. It took us just 16, 17, 18 years to realize that.
Yeah, that's the power of art in general, let alone music and heavy music. And when you do hit that point, whether it's 6 weeks into being a band or 16, 17 years into being a band, but that moment that you realize that your fan base really does care about the music that you're making, and the music really does have an impact on the people that you're listening to, it is a very astonishing feeling, but it's also one to be happy about, that something that you can create matters to other people enough to be able to come back and enjoy everything you do.
Yeah, but it's still a bit weird though. I know by reflex what to say to people when they come up and tell me what our music means, but it's still kind of emotionally I have a hard time to grasp that what they are saying is actually true. That's the hard truth. Like I still have a hard time to understand that people are not making fun of me.
Well, it definitely makes sense, because when you put so much effort into something, and when people have their own opinions on it, most people either think that everyone's either going to love it or everybody's going to hate it. And when it comes to heavier music, the connotation usually is that people are gonna hate it at first because they're gonna feel negative about the music that's being heard. But there is a fan base for the style of music that you're making, whether you helped create it or people have discovered you over the years. It can be a very strange feeling, and I completely understand about how someone would feel like they're not being sincere when they say that your music means something to them, because I imagine that anyone that's not narcissistic would feel that way.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the same thing. Because it wasn't long ago when I was a kid telling my people that I really respect that their music means so much to me. Like I was in Santa Ana in LA a couple of weeks ago, and I met Rob Moran from Unbroken, and at that point it was me being the kid, just telling him how much his music meant to me. So I'm still that kid, and it's weird to hear it through about your own music.
With that realization coming in now, do you think that it's going to affect you at all for the next album, or do you feel like you're able to still keep the vision of how you want to be, making sure that it doesn't necessarily matter if the fans are going to love what you're going to love or hate the next release that you do, as long as you're going to be creatively happy with what you do?
Yeah, I mean, you never know. It's not even used to spend much time to think of it, because I think Thomas, our drummer, said something really good. It was years ago, but it stuck to me. Is that like if things that we've done that we liked have worked and other people have liked it for so many years, maybe we should have trust in our own judgment. It's not like you're writing for anyone else, but as long as we like it. Obviously, other people have liked it too in the past, so don't worry about it. It's not a guarantee that people will like what you do, but still, what else can you do than just keep on doing what you can do?
That's definitely a great way to go about it. And some great words from your drummer as well, because I think that's very true for anyone that's starting something on their own, whether it's a band or they're making a film or they're starting their own business. If you're happy with what you're doing and others are buying into what you're doing, whatever that is, then you got to be doing something right.
Yeah, but also, I mean, what option do you have? I mean, when we talk about doing a business, if you're going to do a business based on what you think other people like, I mean, will you be happy with what you're doing? I mean, or a business or a band, or like, it must be genuine. It must, even though you're doing what you love doing and everyone hates it, you don't have an option. Every sustainable thing when it comes to art, and actually I think when it comes to companies too, must come from a passion. If you don't have the passion, it's not going to work. It's just going to be a product, and you're going to feel alienated from it, and it's not going to work out for you. So I think it must come from the passion of wanting to do something and the love of doing it. Hopefully there's more people out there that likes it, but if not, when it comes down to it, it's pretty easy. It's not rocket science. It's, are you enjoying yourself? Are you having fun? Period, or not period? Question mark. But and that's how I try to view everything I do.
So, with that said, all being great points that I know I need to also live by myself. Do you feel happy with where Cult of Luna is in 2016 creatively with Mariner?
Yeah, I really like it, and I can listen to it like it's not our record, because Julie put such a big impact on it, so I can almost listen to it like it's not our music. Now you're in I'm in a situation now where I actually can't listen to it, because I've come out of a process of listening to different mixes and giving feedback and stuff like that. So I need a year, and then I can listen to it again.
That definitely makes sense.
Yeah. It's just you need to alienate yourself from the whole process for a while before you can listen to it.
Oh, very much so. So, do you feel that the songs are going to be able to be translated live as they are on the album?
Are we talking about Mariner?
Yes.
No, wait, this was a non-touring album.
Oh, it
from
is?
the start.
Okay.
Yeah. If something life has taught me, it's to never say never, but there's no plans, and it's hard enough to get 6 or 7. I don't even know how many we are, but all the guys on the same level when it comes to playing, and bringing another person with a strong will from another continent surely don't help in the equation of getting on the road.
Oh, that definitely does make sense. I mean, I can imagine the logistics of being able to do something, even for a one-off. I can imagine that there would be some issues that go along with that.
I mean, that's actually harder because doing a tour, you're set for doing more shows, and there's not as much at stake as if you just do one festival, where you probably get a lot of money, and then you need to practice, and you have you really want to do good in this festival. I'd rather do 5 club shows, and I think it's actually easier to make it happen than. But I could see myself, practicing the song with her first, and then we'll see if they're able to reproduce live. I guess I actually think they are, but you never know.